Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart, joined by Marco D'Angelo and Las Vegas Chris. This is going to be an interesting one here. I'm looking at the current lines on the WagerTalk odds page. The Cleveland Browns have really superseded expectations, but they're still a 5.5-point underdog to the Tennessee Titans, who really laid the smackdown last week against Indianapolis. This one looks like DraftKings and Bookmaker both posting sixes, so I'm sure the rest of the market will head that way. Totals in the low 54, 53 and a half range. Las Vegas, Chris, I'm going to let you have the floor first here. This one's tough. I think that Cleveland hasn't exactly gotten the respect that they deserve as an 8-3 team. But then I just see them coast through games like they did last week against the Jags. Baker Mayfield, maybe just a little proud of himself, however you want to look at it. This team has a good running game. They have a decent defense. Myles Garrett back. We'll see. What say you about the 5.5-6 with the Cleveland Browns?
Well, to Mayfield's defense, he did turn the ball over 23 times last year, and he's only done it 8 times this year. But as we know, watching the last game, he can't hit the broadside of a barn sometimes when he has open players. But this is a really interesting game for me because I have people that reach out to me and call me nasty names because I've called both of these teams overrated the entire season. So, but I've been making a lot of money with the clients betting against the Browns. They're 2-5 against the spread, and we're doing well betting against the Titans all year. But this is a really interesting time because this last game, Tennessee came to play against Indianapolis. Indianapolis got hit with COVID and lots of injuries, and the Titans really pounced. They brought the energy, and they're flying high right now. They've got a huge advantage. They had the 3-1 division record against Indy's 1-2. They've got the conference advantage, so they can breathe easy now. And this is one of these examples where a team looks so good. When this line came out at 4, you're like, how can it only be 4? We all know it needed to be higher. So what our eyes tell us is that there's lots of value on Tennessee. Not being a Cleveland fan, it kind of turns my, Cleveland supporter this season, kind of turns my stomach that I kind of am going to be leaning toward Cleveland here. I'm not sure it's going to be a play yet. I think this line's going to go higher, but Tennessee is not a team that I want to back. They're 1-8 against the spread as a non-divisional favorite. They're in a situation where they don't have to take this game too seriously. I mean, they are going to take it seriously, but they let off the gas a little bit. Cleveland gets Myles Garrett back. As I mentioned earlier, Mayfield does do some things well. And Cleveland's got their #1 run offense. And the Titans are going to be missing a key run defender, linebacker Brown. So that helps out Cleveland a little bit. There's the other area that I'm going to be looking at on this is you've got the number 25D and the number 22D. Neither one of these teams can really play defense. And in Cleveland, has the benefit of playing these weather games that even improve their defensive stats. Tennessee has the 5th rated offense. Cleveland knows how to move the ball sometime. They're going to be able to run the ball in Tennessee. The total of over 53.5 looks short also. So I'm looking toward Cleveland. I think the line's going to go up. Could even hit 6.5, 7. And I favor the over.
That's really interesting. You think the line's going to go that high. At that point, I may be looking to throw Tennessee in a teaser just to win. Mark, I already know what side you're on. We just got finished filming Bet on it. So I know that you have a barking dog on the Cleveland Browns. But now that you and Chris both seem to like it, I'm really curious to see if I can get to the window with this team. Do you agree with Chris that this is a spot where we wait because we know we may see a 6.5?
Yeah, the line, Tennessee is what the public's going to want. And it's a sample size of 1 last week's games. They're going to look and see that Tennessee ran over Indianapolis. But as we talked about on Bet On It today, Kelly, there were some key injuries to the defensive line for the Indianapolis Colts. You want a full, healthy defensive line when you're facing the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry. He's the best running back in football, and he's a running back that punishes you. If you look at his stats, he gets better as the game goes on. If you remember, I know, Kelly, you probably weren't even born then, but the great Earl Campbell, whenever he would run the football, his stats got better as the game went on. He had the biggest thighs of any football player I ever seen, running back wise, and he just would mow people over. And you got tired of trying to tackle him. And that's what Derrick Henry is and why he's so effective in the fourth quarters of games. But they took advantage of a situation. Also, as Chris pointed out, they have all of the edges now because last week's game was an absolute must win. It put them in the driver's seat to the division. They control their own destiny now. If they would have lost last week, although they would have only been one game behind the Colts, they literally would have been two because they would have lost both regular season meetings and all of the tiebreakers would have went to the Colts. So they are, use the phrase, and I'm kind of pissed that I didn't use it on Bet On It today. I forgot to throw it in there. They're fat and sassy after last week's win. And couple that with the week before, they went into Baltimore, which was supposed to be a major revenge game for the Baltimore Ravens, and they beat the Ravens in overtime. So here is a team that's flying as high as you can. And then we flip to the other side of the script, and it's the Cleveland Browns. Well, people are looking at the Browns' last 4 games. 3 low-scoring games where the offense didn't do anything, and then the Jacksonville game. Well, they played in 3 monsoons, basically, the last 3 games at Cleveland. The weather was horrible in all 3 games. Whether they were dealing with rain, wind, or snow, all 3 games affected the offenses in there. So their numbers look worse than it is. And then last week, they go on the road and they play Jacksonville, okay? If you got Tennessee on deck and you got Jacksonville, are you really going to be focused on that Jacksonville game? You have the impression that you just have to show up and you're going to win. Well, they almost got caught losing it. And actually, I love taking teams that have close scares like that because what you get in the next week is full focus. Anybody that thought anything was coming easy got a rude awakening last week, and now you're going to get a good week of practice out of Cleveland, and you're getting an inflated number based on a 1-week sample size, an overreaction. We talked about what the opening line was at Westgate, and it jumped 2 points when they brought the official lines out this week, and yet now the public still doesn't think it's enough. We're seeing it tip to 6 and maybe get to the 6.5. I'm sorry. I'm going to be all over Cleveland everywhere on the board this week. And, if I lose it, well, I guess I don't have to read Twitter on Sunday because everybody's going to tell me how bad I suck for taking the Browns. But I'm all over the Browns, Kelly.
That's all right, Marco. They can tweet all 3 of us and tell us how bad we suck at Las Vegas Chris, at Marco in Vegas, at Kelly in Vegas. Let us know. Let's go Brownies. Make sure you guys head over to our WagerTalk YouTube channel and check out all of our other game previews.